But everyone has a different story to tell. Shell, which says it's losing it.
The Tampa market. Staggering rise.
In Northeast Africa, precisely on the horn of Africa.
But the local farmers.
All right. Good morning, folks. Welcome you this morning again. First of all, before I can start, I want to apologize to you guys. Last week, I was unable to be on here and I did not pass your message on because it was an emergency, so I couldn't. However, I am here this morning and we are here this morning. So I welcome you all on the show. So as you come on, please share the live because this is a new platform. We are still growing this platform. So we lost most of our members from the old platform. So we wanted to come on here to subscribe on here. So share the live once you get on. So share to wherever you can share so that people can subscribe, so that our subscriber that we lost from the other channel, they can be able to come on here as well, because we want them to come along. So we also want to thank all of our patrons, all of our monthly contributor, and for the great work that you do to keep us strong and focused and motivated to do this. And we say thank you for you all that are coming on here this morning again. It is because of you all that give us the strength to continue to do what we are doing. And to those of you that will also watch the recording. So welcome this morning. This is your host. I am Frank Mauba, the host for the Revolutionary Repatriation Educational Lecture Series every Friday on the WCC channel. So welcome. Today's topic is African nations saying no to the US and EU strategic intervention. African nations saying no to the US and EU strategic intervention, whether on the African continent or out of the African continent. African nations are saying no. So that is the topic today. So once again, I welcome you all as we all are here this morning to do what we do as usual and the best. Folks, the time has come for African people to stand up, and it can never be joyful other than this, for African people to realize where the problem is, and for African people to know that the only solution to their struggle or to their liberation, whether you are on the African continent or you are out of the African continent, right? Africans have realized that solution lies within the hands of Africans, not within the hands of outsider. Africans have realized that the solution of African people, whether home and abroad, it lies within the hands of African. All right. It is not in the hands of the US, and it is not in the hands of Great Britain. None of those people. It is not in the hands of the colonizer. All right. It is not in the hands of the 1884 Berlin Conference agenda that is still being pushed. It is in the hands of the African that fought for freedom, against slavery. All right. It is in the hands of the African that fought for freedom of independent African nations, or let's say against colonization. It is in the hands of those Africans. It is not in the hands of the slave Atlantic, how they call it, slave trade. It is not in the hands of the Arab slave trade. All right. That is to say, it is not in the hands of those the descendant of the Arab slave trade. It is not in their hand. The descendant of the transatlantic slave trade, it is not in their hand. All right. It lies within the hands of African, the minds, the vision, the power, the knowledge, the spiritual aspect, everything's okay, lies within the hands of African. Having said that, before we can get to how African nations are standing against the United States and EU or intervention or military or whatsoever intervention in Africa, I want us to look at something that have been in the news recently. That is Kanye West, okay? And there's a reason why I want us to look at it, because it's also intertwined with what we are going to say here today. It also intertwined with the issue affecting African nation. And the thing about African struggle, right? African struggle are always interconnected, no matter how it is, all right? They are always connected, all right? So let's look at Kanye West situation, and then you will see how they're going to intertwine with what we are going to discuss about African nations resisting the United States and EU intervention into their affair, all right? So let's look at Kanye West situation. And in getting into Kanye West situation, there are some things I want to discuss in that as well. And there's a reason why I took this, all right? So the first video we're going to watch, is coming from a man called Roland Mountain, to whom I respect, okay? But sometimes his idea does not really coordinate, all right? And the reason why I took this is because, bear in mind, this is election time is right here, right? What, November 9 or Tuesday or 8, right? This is election time. And I kind of see how Roland Mountain, took the narrative of this whole Kanye West situation or issue, right? And he tried to limit it on Fox News, all right? But I want to remind him that it is not just about Fox News or those news reporters that sit down on Fox News channel to give their opinion or to give their side of how they want it to be. It wasn't about Fox, and it is not about Fox News. It is about even whether BBC or CNN or ABC. It is about all of them. All right. So let's look into this here. All right. So the headline say, Roland destroy Freckles Fox News. Or I know what they were trying to say, reckless, but whatever it is. Fox News for stalking up to Kanye West, right? Not bothering to read anti-settlement post. Now, let's see the narrative of Roland Martin here and try to dig into it. Like I said, I respect him, all right? But he's a Democrat. He's a pro-Democrat. And that is not to say I am the one speaking here, right? I am anti-Democrat and then I am pro-Republican. I am none of them. All right? I am none of them. Okay? But Roland Martin is a pro-Democrat. So he took this narrative, right? So that it won't allow African in the United States who are qualified to vote, not to vote for Democrat. All right? So that's why Roland Martin took this stand, because he's a pro-Democrat. All right? So he took this stand so that African voters in the United States or African voters who are qualified to vote will not vote for the Republican. All right? So Roland Martin was trying to, he's trying to do a campaign thing here, but we want to dive into it and tell him, no, Roland Martin, this is not about Republican or Democrat. This is about African. All right? This is about Black people. This is not about voting. So put voting things one side. We understand how our people in this country, all right, struggle, to reach this far, to have some right when it comes to voting right. We understand that. All right. So that is not to say we are trying to badge against those that came after or that fought, for African to be qualified to vote in this country. But again, we can say this. They did not fight alone for voting. All right. So And it's the truth. Our forefather did not fight only for voting. All right? They did not fight only for voting. And Roland Martin, I want you to get that. I know you are very well educated. You even know more than me. But the truth is, they did not fight only for voting. Let's get into this.
When that fool wore his little White Lives Matter shirt with that other dumbass Candace Owens, I wasn't wasting my time dealing with those fools. But I told y'all what happens when you give folk attention. So Kanye West goes on Fox News, sits down with Tucker Carlson, and oh my Lord, the folk at Fox News just praised him up and down, called this man, oh, how he was a genius, incredible. If y'all want to see white love, y'all want to see Kanye West's white love. Remember, Charlemagne said Kanye's whole focus is he desperately seeks white validation. Ooh, the white nationalists at Fox News gave him all the white validation he needed. This is a compilation put together by Media Matters.
I was blown away by Kanye West. I really was.
It was fascinating. This was an unvarnished, authentic.
We've rarely heard a man speak so honestly and so movingly about what he believes.
Kanye West is wise. Yeah. He's unique, and certainly he's fearless.
He's a very important voice.
There's such authenticity to that it just makes me want to hear more.
Speaking truth to power, calling things out, and Kanye West does that. He speaks truth to power.
He is one smart guy.
Is Kanye trying to be a force for good? Absolutely.
Yeah, he is.
Very special intellectual renaissance. When you consider like people like Tucker or Kanye.
Kanye's genius.
I'm going to make an analogy. Kunta Kinte.
All right. So first of all, let's look at the first narrative here, right? So you see how white supremacy works, okay? Now, you see, when Kanye West was bashing African people, right? When he was looking down on African people, when Kanye West said, those that came, they fought for freedom, fought for independence, fought hard to get up to where we are today. When Kanye West said it wasn't important, and when Kanye West was praising, right, the colonizer, when Kanye West was praising the white supremacy, right, they gave him the credit. They gave him the credit. How he's this? How, I mean, he speaks his mind, right? He's not afraid, right? And they said all kinds of things, right? But why it is today? We're gonna get into Roland Martin aspect, right? But why it is today? When Kanye West, on the other hand, he spoke his mind of what was done against African people, right? And the white media or the white supremacy are against it to the extent that almost everything Kanye West have labored for, it is going down the drain. They are taking contract from him. They are taking his bonuses, his commercial, almost everything. They are seizing it, right, from him. And they don't want him. They are cutting all tie from him. But why yesterday, as I can remember, when Kanye West said all kind of horrible things against black people and praising his white master, when Kanye West was acting yesterday as a horse Negro, the slave master gave him the praises. And in fact, if you can see, it was after Kanye West went against black history, went against black people and said black people are their problem, black people are their own problem to what is happening to them, Kanye West was announced as a billionaire. Did you imagine that? Kanye West was announced as billionaire, the moment Kanye West started saying all kind of horrible things against African people and start saying if African people are suffering today, it is because of them. When he was praising his white masters, all of a sudden, Kanye West became a billionaire overnight. He started getting all the endorsement. In fact, Kanye West became the public figure for Black people. They start inviting Kanye West to speak on the issue of African people. Can you imagine that time? And they said he was the voice of African people, that African people need to look at to move on. And they said Kanye West does not want to live in an illusion. So Kanye West has moved on. And he's the kind of person that is good for Black society. He's the kind of person that is good to rush shoulder with the white man. Today, Kanye West is the bad man. Today, Kanye West is not the kind of Black man to represent Black people. Today, Kanye West is a toxic man. Today, right? But these are the people that sat here and they gave him all the praises. All right? These are the people that sat there, they gave him all the praises. But what happened today? Kanye West has become the bad man. We'll see. Let's get into it.
In Roots, they got him out on a tree and they're whipping him. What's your name? And they want him to say left-wing liberal.
Kanye West refuses to live in that box.
I mean, you can't help but like him because he is not apologetic.
Yeah. Have I reached Alex Jones territory yet?
No, I think you're telling the truth.
Okay.
And that's okay if you do.
I think he's dead on this one.
I know for me, it just made me think, man, we could reach so many more people with this powerful movement that believes in freedom.
I know that what I'm listening to is unique and interesting.
If Kanye West believes it, imagine how many more people out there maybe aren't talking about it, but would like to. Ye West threatening to go to war with Jewish people on Twitter.
He appears to imply Diddy, a fellow rapper, was controlled by the Jews on Instagram.
Did you know? Who you vote for is private, but if you vote is public information.
Boy.
All right, so Kanye West, he began to have problem the moment he started talking the truth of what happened behind the scene with the Jewish, right? What the Jewish did, right? Now, when he was bashing African people, he was good. But when he began to bring out a true story about the Jewish, he became a bad man, right? Let's get into it. So before I can even get there, this is to say, right? Black money is not money. If, okay? Black money is not money if it is not holistically Black. Black money is not money if it is not holistically made Black. If it is not holistically earned Black, it's not money. They can strip it from you at any time. So Kanye West, yesterday they said he was a billionaire, but today everything has been stripped from him. He's no longer a billionaire. So Black money ain't money if it is not holistically made Black. Let's get into this.
Ain't that one pretty funny? Boy, did y'all just hear how these folks just lost their minds? Oh, Lord have mercy. Kanye is like Black Jesus to them. I mean, they just were beside themselves for the praise and love of Lil Kanye. This is when things change, y'all. It was when Kanye decided to drop this tweet here. Remember, he was attacking Diddy back and forth, and Diddy fired back at him. So Kanye went ahead and decided to drop this tweet here. This is where things change. I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is, I actually can't be anti-Semitic because Black people are actually Jew also. You guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda. Well, that didn't sit too well. The folks at Instagram and the folks at Twitter. So he got thrown in Instagram and Twitter jail. But the thing that for me is just hilarious is to watch how these folks are just running and running and backtracking and how they are just doing all they can. And you know, and what really got me in that video, listen, as I heard more of Kanye, I wanted to hear more. Will Kane. Now, y'all, I used to often debate Will Kane when we were at CNN, and Will a nice guy, but he a lightweight. He a lightweight. I used to destroy his ass at every turn. I mean, every time he would say something. I mean, he's from Texas, University of Texas, so his football team sucks. I always blew him up about that. But also, I always destroyed his arguments. And you saw that every time Kanye talks, I want to hear from him. And then, of course, you saw in there Joe Concha, who is a so-called media critic for The Hill and Fox News. He's gone also far right-wing. And I'd have destroyed that fool on so many occasions. It's utterly ridiculous. And he was, again, praising the brilliance of Kanye. See, this is where all y'all white folks at Fox News and, of course, that utterly fool Jason Whitlock, this is what happens when you decide.
Now, Roland Martin just point the whole white supremacy things on Fox News, right? And this is where I have problem with him. I mean, he's brilliant, okay? I flow with him, how he's going about the whole Kanye West things. But again, he's a Democrat. He does not want to lose that Democrat votes, or how do you call it, voters. He does not want for African voters to vote for Republican, all right? So this is why he's kind of putting the whole thing on Fox News. But I'm going to give him some references that this whole thing is not about Fox News.
To side with a fool. You side with a fool will make your ass look real stupid. And that's exactly what happened here. We are dealing with somebody deranged. And just understand, it's all about, I told y'all, it's about the attention. It's about what they do. And then, you know, then you got that really other tired, trifling fool, Candace Owens. If y'all want to hear something stupid, listen to this fool right here. Try to defend Kanye with her. Now, I'm not going to play all of it because y'all know she ain't the brightest bulb in a dark room. I mean, if y'all truly want, if there's a match made in heaven, is Candace Owens dating Jason Whitlock. I mean, those two can go to the Clarence Thomas prom at any time. But just listen to this fool.
That was the tweet. And people subsequently demanded that the tweet be taken down for anti-Semitism. Now, if you are an honest person, you did not think this tweet was anti-Semitic. You did not think that he wrote this tweet because he hates or wants to genocide Jewish people. This does not represent the beginning of the Holocaust. That's if you're an honest person, you'll meet that. You will admit that, right? If you're an honest person, when you read this tweet, you had no idea what the hell he was talking about. I had no idea when I read this tweet what the hell he was talking about. This tweet inspired questions, not answers. First and foremost,
right there. Okay, so here's the deal. Candace, that's probably the first time. We agree. We don't know what the hell he's talking about. We never know what the hell he's talking about. We don't know what the hell you talking about. We know what the hell he was talking about talking to Tucker Carlson. We never know what his crazy ass talking about. Why? Because his ass ignorant. Just like you. Now, I can't wait for Ben Shapiro, who is Candace's boss, who's Jewish, who's always commenting on anti-Semitism, cannot wait for him to break down the whole Kanye deal. But the thing I love here, Julian, Omakongo, and Renita, and Cleo, stay here for this segment, is I love how, oh Lord, they were holding Kanye West up like he was they Nelson Mandela. And then when they sided with a fool, Julian, it was kind of like, it was sort of like that meme from The Simpsons, you know, back into the bush, like, what the hell are we thinking? They all running now, and trust me, they ain't gonna be praising Kanye when he goes full ignorant ass Kanye. Go ahead.
You know, it's hilarious, Roland, because I couldn't believe the clips you compiled were these folks who, not that they're bright or anything, but should have known better than to praise Kanye to the heavens. All I have to say about him is this. I'm certain that his mama is rolling over her grave. She was a serious Black woman academic, taught African American studies. I'm sure something happened to him somewhere along the way, perhaps when she passed. But his
it wasn't when the boy got a mental. He's mentally sick, and we're gonna call it what it is. And I guess he's trying to get the Mel Gibson Lifetime Achievement Award.
Let me just add this. Kanye West is not mentally sick.
Most men, 99% of them, are unaware of this traditional 16-second Japanese ritual that could shrink their enlarged prostate.
Fuck.
So here it is. For once, I do not want to believe that Kanye West is mentally sick. No. Kanye West is not sick. Kanye West is playing the game. Because this is how it works. Kanye West wanted to get the money, right? And let me tell you something. If you really want to be rich in this country, right, as a Black man, just say something that the white man did to the Black man in favor of the white man. Despite he's been wrong. But just look down on the Black man. If you want to make money, fast money here, look down on the Black man, look down on his condition, make the Black man a victim, based on his condition where he's not supposed to be the victim. All right? So blame the victim. Okay? Just do it. Blame the victim. Once you do that, you're going to be picked up. You're going to be recognized by white supremacy. So Kanye West, he looked at the whole narrative. He studied it. He wanted to make quick money, right? And once he did that, overnight, he became billionaire. Overnight, they announced that he's a billionaire. Right? Now, he got that money. So he was proud in himself. Now he wanted to turn back to his people. He wanted to turn back and say, no, I said this against my people, but equally so, the Jewish man or the white man or the colonizer also did this against my people. Because he felt to himself now he had the money, right? He felt to himself now he was powerful because once upon a time, they make this man seems that a god. Once upon a time, they make this man seems to be an advocate, and they themselves admit to it. Once upon a time, they made this man to be a man of fearless, that he can speak his mind. But when it came to them, no, he's not supposed to speak. Because Kanye West, he made the money already in his mind. He have gotten the money. So now he can speak his mind because they already told him he can speak his mind. But then he didn't know that in speaking your mind, you cannot speak against the man that put the money in your pocket. You cannot speak against the man that made you a billionaire. Now, this is where this link to the African continent. Okay? You can never ever speak against a man that made you a billionaire. And that's the message from the Jewish or from the white supremacy to Kanye West. The only thing you can do is you speak for us. Despite what we have done against African people, all the ill behavior, all the ill treatment that we have given to them, the injustices, the inhumane behavior we have given to them, even practices, you cannot speak against them. You can only speak in our favor and blame the victim. But if you speak against us, this is where you belong, and we will put you there. We will scrape you naked. Kanye West is not stupid. In his mind, he has made his money, and they told him he's brave. He can speak his mind. And those are the kind of people they need in society. If you said yesterday, those are the kind of people you need in society, why not today you do not need him when he spoke the truth, not even against you? He never spoke anything against you, but he spoke the truth. He can only speak against you if what he spoke was a lie. But he spoke the truth. You cannot speak the truth about somebody and then you say he's against you. It don't happen like that in an equal and fair society. Let's continue.
Insanity?
I don't know what the hell he's doing, but I'm gonna call it what it is. But what I'm not gonna do is call this fool his intellectual prowess and all those phrases them dumbasses at Fox News was throwing around. I mean, the boy done said he don't read books. See, this is what happens when y'all keep calling everybody a genius. Just because your ass make music don't make you a genius. So maybe you want to say a musical genius or whatever. But for me, I don't really give a damn other than probably 2 or 3 songs he got, but that's just me. But on the Congo, that's what you're dealing with. He's a fool. And when you see Fox News praising anybody black, we need to have a big old neon light.
Sorry, folks. This is why I want to disagree with Roland Mountain. This is not about Fox News. Because the last time I checked, it was not Fox News that told LeBron James to shut up his mouth and shoot the ball. When LeBron James talked about the police brutality against black people in this country, it was not Fox News that told LeBron James to just shut up his mouth and shoot the ball because he's being paid by his master. It was CNN. So why do you want to just limit this to Fox News? Oh, let me give you another reference. The last time I checked, it was not Fox News. It was not just Fox News that terminated Colin Kaepernick when he knelt down. It was not just Fox News. It was all the news. It was all the social media. It was all the platform of white supremacy. It was not just Fox News. If you want to get a Democrat vote, that's fine. But don't just limit this to Fox News. Because the last time we checked, up to today, Colin Kaepernick does not have a job. The entire NFL. So are you telling me it's the Fox News that control the entire NFL? They took Colin Kaepernick from out of his job. They fire him. They sentence him. They prison him. They castrated him. They lynch him. They rip him from everything. They rip him. It was not just Fox News, folks. Roland Mountain, it was not just Fox News. I respect you. But with this one, and some of the things you are saying here, I disagree. Especially if you just limit it to Fox News. No! It was not just Fox News. So the NFL is not being controlled by Fox or Fox News. Then why the NFL stripped Colin Kaepernick? And not just that, but every commercial that he was on, they stripped it from him. Was that Fox News? I believe not. So let's be real here when we are discussing African issues. Let's be real here when we are discussing African solution. You cannot be discussing a solution and then you trying to cover certain things. You can't do that. just because you want black people to vote for Democrat, and you try to just print everything on Fox News. When the reality is, it's not facts. The reality is holistic. And you know it. Don't cover certain things. Don't do it. It was not Fox News that controlled the NFL. Everything this Corey Kaepernick was on, they strip him naked. They lynch him. They rape him naked. Everything from him. They castrated him. Everything from him. All his endorsement, they took everything was at Fox News. They beat him. They lynch him all kind of way. Not as physical lynching, but that was lynching they did to him. Not as physical rape, but that was rape they did to him. Not as physical castration, but that was castration they did to him. Because they were sending a message to any black celebrity that is being paid, not by black men, but that is being paid by white entity or white organization. It was a message they were sending to him and to anybody that if you want to get the pay, shut your mouth and get the pay. Just as they told LeBron James to shut your mouth and shoot. Because if you continue, you will not shoot again. We will strip you naked and you will not be on our court to shoot. And that example can go to many other. And that is why you see some black people, they are silent. Some African people in this country are silent. They cannot speak because everything will be stripped away from them. Because black dollar ain't black dollar, ain't worth if it is not holistically being made black. Let's continue. So this is not about Fox News. Let's get that clear. I know you want your Democrat vote, but next month is both election, whether primary or federal, and you do not want for black people to vote against Democrat. So that is why you continue to pin these things. And stop it. If black people want to vote Democrat, let it be. If they want to vote Republican, let it be. If they want to not vote, let it be. But discuss the real issue.
Neon sign, beware, praise of the Negro at Fox News.
No doubt. I mean, for them, I mean, he's the rap version of Herschel Walker, to be quite honest. And really, at the end of the day, what Candace Owens was doing, that was also kind of a CYA moment because she was kind of backtracking because she didn't want people.
Just this unbelievable intellectual force, you know, and then, oh, Jason Whitlock, oh, he is doing these things for the good. Boy, sit your fake ass down.
Yeah, no, I'm with Ama Congo, except I do, you know, black people have been saying that something has not been right with Kanye for a while. They wanted him, now they got him. So they're stuck with him.
All right, Cleo, before I go to you, I want to show you this Fox News hopscotch because they were like, oops. I mean, so watch these fools at work. Listen to y'all.
It was your Friday night. You know, you didn't have to get up early, so I assume you stayed up late-ish for you. You probably watched Tucker and Hannity, and so that means you probably saw Kanye's interview. What did you think?
I did. I watched the entire interview, and I know that I watched part 1 and part 2. Yes, he jumps around a lot, but I do think, I mean, he's not dumb. He's really smart. I thought his message was a spiritual message, really, to embrace who God created you to be. He's not conventional. He teaches to think outside of the box. He gives examples about his children, reject conformity and be yourself. It's actually a beautiful message. I encourage everyone to really listen to it. He'll focus on one subject and then he'll jump to another subject, from running for president to Elon Musk to his kids and his schools and big pharma and farms and our food. But it's really, if you just watch it and you listen to what he's saying, the message is beautiful. He's saying we're all sheep and we need to be guided by God and focus on what God created you to be, who you were in the womb, and really embrace those thoughts and those messages that God has given to you. And you know, we're all created uniquely. There are billions of people in this world, and we each have our own fingerprint, which is amazing if you think about it. And we have so much power in our own bodies to make this world a better place. And if we all did that and weren't conformed and were objective about things, instead of just conforming to our schools and conforming to our government, then I think this world would be.
What is Doug Mastriano's top priority?
I am pro-life. It's my #1 issue.
Banning all abortions. Josh Shapiro has different priorities: cutting taxes, getting our economy moving, and investing in job training. His priority is you.
Drinking warm water before bed fixes tooth and gum problems overnight. People are healing decay.
Okay, let me tell you, Cleo, Ainsley Earnhardt is truly one of the dumbest people on Fox News. And that's saying a whole lot when you got Peter Hegseth and Janine Pirro and some other just air. You got Supreme Airhead Kayleigh McEnany. But this child right here, she take the cake for being, I think, the dumbest person at Fox News. But don't you just love how, oh, you thought she was describing.
And let me say this again. She's not dumb. All right? She's looking out for her race. She's looking out for her complexion. She's looking out for whosoever that look like her. She's not dumb. Let us look out for ourselves too. Just how, Mr. Mountain, you are standing out there, putting the whole thing on facts. Look, let us look out for Black people. Stop encouraging Black people to think that Democrat is for them. And they belongs to the Democrat party. And it is only the Democrat party that they can vote for. That is not to say I am advocating for Black people to go and vote for Republican. The fact here is, let us look out for ourselves. Whether we vote Democrat or we vote Republican, that's not my concern here. Let us discuss what is in our interest. Because these people, they are not going to discuss anything holistically. They are not going to discuss anything for Black and white thing. No, at the end of the day, it's about them. So at the end of the day, it should be about us too, Black people, period. She's not stupid. She's not dumb.
Mother Teresa or Jesus.
Well, there's a few things that are very clear here, and there's some things that are not so clear. What's clear here is that white supremacists, strange people who are believing the myth of that superiority need people like Kanye West. Now, he kind of messed up in their eyes when he dropped the Jewish bomb. They didn't expect that, of course. But when you got to remember that earlier this week, he and Candace both were walking around with some fashion show with a White Lives Matter shirt. That's like what's it called? Something an act when it's sexually. It's called the word ends with act. I can't think of the word right now.
All right, folks, I'm going to be skeptical, right? But according to this man right here, Kanye West, let's just summarize it, right? Kanye West have been led down by the white supremacy, by the same white people. He was behind yesterday. He was pressing, right? Kanye West have been led down because these are the same people that look at Kanye West as a god, right? And as the story goes on, at some time they even say Kanye West, he's even capable of becoming president for the United States. These same people on Fox News sat down there, right? And even not even on Fox News, but on white media, they sat down there and they said Kanye West at some point he can even become president. Because by him becoming president, he can still be used or they can use him. They made all those statements. But why it is today? Because when these things happen, it is not just about coming here to discuss. Even as we discuss it, right? let us discuss and find solution. Let us find meaningful things within there. Now, one of the meaningful things that we can find from this discussion of Kanye West and his slave master, right? One of the meaningful things that we can find in here to discuss and bring solution is this. As a black man, never go against another black man for a non-black man. Okay? Never ever go against a black man for a non-black man. Because at the end of the day, you will become the victim. Like how Kanye West is a victim today. And how Kanye West have been stripped naked from almost everything. You will become the victim. Never ever go against a black man for a non-black man. Never ever go against the black agenda. Because you see the white supremacy, they never go against the white agenda for a black man. This is not race, or I'm not speaking hate or racist thing here, but it is the reality. Never as a black man go against the black agenda. As a black man, never ever go against your history. Never ever go against your struggle just because you want to gain some favoritism from a white man, or from a European, or from a Westerner. Never ever do that. So as we discuss these things, as these things are happening, we have to start learning, not just to come out here and discuss that, oh, this is what Kanye West said about the white man, and they took everything from him. Oh yeah, Kanye West saw it coming. Oh yeah, it's good for him. Oh, he learned his sense. No, it's not about Kanye West. It's about what can we take from what have happened between Kanye West and his master, between a white man and a black man. So these are some of the things that we can take from there. Not to come here to discuss how black people should go vote for Democrat. No. Never ever go against the black agenda if it is not in the favor of the black man. Never. Never ever talk against the black history if it is not in the favor of black people. Because those men and women that struggle, that die untimely death, they sacrifice their life for you to come and go against it. You will be judged. So Kanye West is dealing with his problem. It's fine. But what can we get from there as a black man so that we cannot repeat the same thing Kanye West has repeated or is doing? Because Kanye West is not stupid. He's sound. So we can't keep saying, oh, because that's one thing I've noticed about black people or about African people. They see the reality and don't discuss the reality. But they will always say, oh, forget it. He's not sound. Oh, he's crazy. Oh, he's mad. Oh, he's stupid. Oh, don't pay attention to him. No, we're going to pay attention to what Kanye West is doing. Kanye West is not mad. He's not stupid. We're going to learn something meaningful from what Kanye West is going through or what he's doing. He's not stupid. He's not mad. But black people, we never discuss the reality. I don't know if it is something syndrome. I don't know what's wrong with us. We see the reality and then try to like, oh, he's not correct. He's mad. Oh, don't pay attention. No, we're going to pay attention to this in a very meaningful way that we're going to draw some conclusion from there, our solution as what we need to do again going forth.
But anyway, that's like sexually charging to white supremacists when they see black people act like this. You might he tried to expose racism in the video award system when what Taylor Smith, I think her name was, got an award that he thought Beyonce should have gotten, and that it was racist. And in both instances, when he stepped out from the system and said something for black people, he got crickets. Not only did he get crickets, follow me, the first black president.
Now, if he says something in favor of black people, Well, the white supremacy felt that it was against them, and they did this to him, right? How long are we going to continue to be horse Negro? That is to say, in your life, never ever say anything against the Black liberation. Never ever say anything against the Black struggle. Never ever look down on the struggle, on the suffering of Black people. Never do it. Never do it when you find yourself out there making some money that is not of the Black dollar. Never ever do it.
The United States called him a jackass. I believe personally that
who are but they are quick to find a Negro to say, oh, he won ours. That's why they love some Jason Whitlock.
Yeah.
Oh, they love when you
something is branded racist or anti-Semitic, you know what I mean? But you never really see the original source material because in a media account of it, they don't repeat whatever it is.
Right.
This is a real trend over the last couple of years where the headline will say a certain thing and then you read the article and the article is conclusive, meaning it was racist, it was anti-Semitic, but the supporting evidence is never provided. And the only reason I say that is because I don't trust everybody making the calls. I'm not saying it wasn't anti-Semitic. I don't know because I don't get to see the original source material. It's censored.
Okay.
I'm tired of folks coming around telling us just vote. The truth is, they're coming for our rights, our people, you. So no, just vote won't fix everything. But that's no excuse to do nothing. So make a plan to vote today.
My friend used to pay $163 for car insurance. Now look how much he pays.
Did you see the commercial I just played, right? About the voting? These are some of the things we're talking about. So they are simply trying to tell us, right? If we decide not to vote, it's not still going to face the problem. But even if we vote, it's not still going to face the problem. So that is exactly, Roland Martin here. So Mr. Mountain, right? It's not particularly about voting Democrat and not voting Republican. All right? Because at the end of the day, the white agenda supersedes, period.
it was available to be seen. So
question that Kanye or Ye was going to have to be taken down after what happened in the Tucker Carlson interview, after wearing that shirt. He just crossed every line that you're not allowed to cross. And he exposed BLM for its corruption. He talked about pro-life issues. He has to be taken down. My understanding, Will, of what he said is that he claimed that his buddy P. Diddy, who you saw there in the Instagram post, was being controlled by Jewish, corporate Hollywood types. That was what I understand what was the statement, which then they said was anti-Semitic and, referenced some tropes. And so then they had to cut him down. Again, we're in this weird era where people can't just say what they want to say and take responsibility, for what they said, whether it's with the sale of his shirts or his companies, whatever. But this idea that you have to just shut down his account is just, it's totally totalitarian, totally anti-American. And
I mean, oh my God, I'm just so sorry that people just can't say what the hell they want to say.
All right, I have to take this out, right? But you see the narrative here right now, okay? So you see, that was Kanye West and another lady, Candy Owen, right? So you saw them in there. And one at points of time, both of them were the face of the black people, but now Kanye West is no longer the face. All right. So Kenny Owe is the face of black people in the eyes of the white supremacy. All right. So today, Kanye West is not supposed to say what he need to say. So today, Kanye West is held responsible for his words. But yesterday, he was never held responsible for his word. All right. He was even praised. And they gave him bonuses. So, folks, let me tell you something. Whenever you get paid by white supremacy or by white agenda, by pushing white agenda, it's not a pay, it's a bonus. Okay? So it was a bonus. Bonus made Kanye West to become better name. But the moment he spoke the truth, not against them, but the moment he spoke the truth, they took away all those bonuses. Black dollar, iron dollar, if it is not holistically being made black. Now, this exactly linked to every African nation, to the African continent. I don't care how any African leader, if you are non-independent, self-independent, if you are depending on Western aid or IMF, this is how they treat you. Just how they treated Kanye West, just how Kanye West is being treated today, that's how they treat African people. That's how they treat African nation. The moment you began to speak the truth, they strip you naked, they sanction your nation. And that's the time they will put all allegation against you to take you down. That's the time if you have done horrible things, that's the time all the horrible things will come out. So that is why black struggle is intertwined. They are intertwined. Just because you live in America or you have not been to the African continent does not mean you are different from the people on the African continent. And just because you live on the African continent and you have not been to America or to Europe or to the Western world does not mean your situation is different from the people that live there. It's the same thing. It's the same behavior, the same people, the same attitude, the same everything. And that's how they do to African nation. I dare you, African nation, if America or Europe come and tell you this and you say no, you want to stand against her. I dare you point finger at America. I dare you point finger at Europe. We give you money. We will strip you naked. We will lynch you. We will castrate you. We will rape you naked. Not a physical rape, but they rape African nation naked. They rape African leaders naked. They lynch them. The moment they began to stand up. Oh, by the way, you know what happening right now? You know what the U.S. have done? The U.S. have sent warning that there's a terrorist activity that may happen to South Africa. So they are warning their citizens not to travel there. They are warning their citizens not to travel to Nigeria. The moment African people began to stand up to the West, that's the time they bring out terrorist activities. But the people that South African authority or government or security does not know or they are not aware that terrorist activities are about to happen there. The Nigerian government or the Nigerian authority, they are not aware that terrorist activity is about to happen there. Only in America, they know that it's about to happen there. What does that tell you? Only a crazy man know a crazy man. If you can sit down in America here and know exactly that terrorism is about to happen in South Africa and warning your citizens not to go there, what does that mean? Does that mean, are you the one supporting the terrorists? Does that mean, are you the one about to take terrorist activities there? But all along, you never gave no warning. But the moment African people rise up against you, and in fact, this warning came about when AU Gala and for the very first time to have a serious meeting to solve the problem on the African continent that will involve Africans themselves. That's the time this news came out. Are you seeing it? That's the time this news came out. What is wrong with America? You say African peoples are nothing. You guys are the same people that say the African continent have contributed nothing to the war. You people are the same people that say African does not contribute nothing to the war. Then when African people agree and say, okay, fine, good. Say we have never contributed nothing to the war. Say African people are nothing to the war. And Africa is dirty. Africa is full of disease and sickness and this, that's fine. Right? Then back of Africa, back of African people, then it become problem. When we agree to you, whenever you come out with a statement and we agree to you, and then we say, okay, then we want to move back off, then it become a problem. So let's see here what they did to Kanye West. Okay? So they strip him naked, and then the billionaire turn up begging the master. So that's why African dollar, I know dollar. And this is why we need to start learning. These are some of the solutions that we need to get. We need to start learning for some of these things. It is not about being identified by Europe or by the World Bank that this African man is a billionaire. This African woman is a millionaire, or the first African-American millionaire, or the first African-American billionaire, or the first African-American female, or the first African male billionaire, or a female billionaire. We don't care about those things. Because those are individualistic idea or mentality. Because once they start doing that, you will now look for the progress and improvement or liberation of your people. You will distance yourself from your people. And you will go around people that you think they are millionaire, they are billionaire. And you will start speaking their language. But the day you do not speak or you do not speak their language, they see you as enemy. And that is what happened to Kanye West. The day you do not speak their language, you become an enemy to them. Let's see this.
Came from Africa and that way. And I can't say that my people came from Africa and that way. And I can't say it's this exact teaching or that exact teaching.
Welcome to Candid Africa, truthful and unapologetic.
You know why I apologize, why I say I'm sorry to the Jewish people that I hurt? It's not about, like I said, I'm not going to hold this apology hostage, right? Obviously it's about God, but God is everything, right? So what's the point of even having language and being, you can't engineer if you say God, right? It's like, God asks us to be judgmental so that you become, if you're a doctor, right? It's your judgment that saves grandma, right? Mm-hmm. And God puts that in this, like we have God inside us. We're a piece of God also, right? So I'm going to go specific to a person. That story about Da Vinci alone is enough of a reason for me to give a sincere apology to the Jewish people, because I do believe that there's a Da Vinci code inside of all of my misspellings and scribbles right here that God wants me to get to the world. And when I'm in my way, if God has set something on me, when I'm in my way, I'm in God's way. Now I can point at other people and say, hey, you guys are in God's way because you're not listening to me. But if I'm in my way, I'm not listening to God. And for me to be a philosopher and a leader, whatever other language, I have to listen to God. So before God, what I will do is start off as a samurai and say, I'm sorry for hurting you. as a Jewish person. I'm sorry for the way that made you feel. And I'm sorry for the entire population of a race that I feel is actually my brothers, because I classify and feel that I'm also connected with Christ in that way, that my people came from Africa and that way. And I can't say it's this exact teaching or that exact teaching, but I feel that there's an important, the sons of Abraham, however we want to word it, right? For us to come together and bring our different talents together to serve God collectively. And he, as much of an alien as I am, he did not call for me to alienate.
First of all, Kanye West, your master, they don't care about coming collectively with you to serve God. If that was the case, your master wouldn't have told you, slave, obeyed your master. They wouldn't have told you that. If they wanted to serve God equally on a plain, fair basis, they wouldn't have told you, slave, obeyed your master. They wouldn't have told you, slave, if your master slap you on your left cheeks, turn your right for them to slap you on it. They wouldn't have told you, slave, do not rebel against your master. They wouldn't have told you that. That is why during a slave time or during slavery, you will find maybe 1 or 2 white men subduing about 25 to 30 black men, because those wars came from those areas. So the black men or the African men saw it that we cannot go against our master, because that's what the Creator says. That's what is written in the Bible. But they put it in the Bible. And that is why Michael X said, I couldn't understand why one white man will control about 50 black men. And they never went against that white man. They never rebelled against that white man. They all were subdued by that white man. One person is because your master told you not to rebel against him. And they put it in there. They said that's what the Most High God said. Don't rebel against your master. Obey your master. If your master slap you, turn the other side and they slap it. So Kanye West, don't get it twisted. Your master are not there for you guys to be on the same plane, equal fee to serve God. Because once that happened, they know it. In fact, once that happened, they know that you will begin to realize that all along you are the God, not them. They know it. They know it. But if they do that, you will realize that all along you are the God, not them. You will get to realize that you have been serving the wrong image. You understand that? Let's continue here.
Did you like or hate what you heard? Let us know in the comments below. And
collectively, and he come together and bring our different talents, Abraham, however we want to word it, right? For us to come together and bring our different talents together to serve God collectively. And he, as much of an alien as I am, he did not call for me to alienate.
did you like?
So that's the Kanye West. And to those that think like Kanye West, no. Your slave master will never serve God equally with you, because you will know that you are the true God and you have been worshiping the wrong God. You have been worshiping the wrong person. So they're not going to do it. They're going to make sure to put you in an era that will fit to their narrative, and you will be stuck in there. Okay? So, the reality here is, Kanye West, the people that made you billionaire, in their mind, you are becoming too powerful. You cross your line. So they send in you a message. Now here's the thing. Kanye West said, "I'm not going to hold this apology hostage, right? Now, he's not going to sit down without apologizing to the Jewish." And he did, and he apologized. But when it came to African people that you offended, your own people, you hold that apology hostage. You see how life goes? You see the thing they call karma, especially when you do it against your own people. It's more painful and deadly when you do it against your own people. Because when karma is ready to come back, if you do it against your own people, it doesn't even take long. It will hit you right in your face. And you go back, you apologize to your slave master. But guess what? They already know. They're not going to accept you again. They already know. They're not going to accept you. You can apologize. You can do what you want to do. They're not going to make you billionaire again. They're not. You don't. They have already come together. They have already spoken to cut every D away from you. To cut every commercial activities away from you. Even social media, Instagram, they took it from you. You done. Adidas, you done. They took everything away from you. Your apology means nothing to them. You don't. They're not going to call you back. They're not going to give you $1 again. You don't. That is why never ever in your life you go against Black agenda. Because with Black agenda, they will never go against you. With Black agenda, you can speak the truth to Black faces. They won't go against you. Once it is the truth. But with the white agenda, you can speak the truth to them. They will go against you. They will go against you if you speak the truth. And you did. You spoke the truth. But you saw what happened. Black agenda, it never happened that way. You speak the truth to Black agenda, they still keep you. They still see you as a brother, as a sister, as one of them. They don't betray you. They don't go against you. In fact, that's the time they will respect you more. Black agenda, no lies. You see the difference? Black agenda is not about money. Black agenda is not about the fame. Black agenda is knowledge, it's unity, it's togetherness, it's freedom, it's peace of mind. You see, right now, you don't have peace of mind. You don't have peace of mind. And I don't think you're going to have a peace of mind in a very long time to come. You see it? You see the difference? Let's continue here. So now, we are going to the Black nations, all right? So, African situation, whether it is being individual situation, it also intertwined with groups, entity, okay? So that's the thing about African people. Because you know what? It's the same system that still controlling and oppressing and suppressing. It's the same system. So let's see what's happening in Black nations. All right. Now, let's see this. All right. So with this video, right, first of all, I want to thank Anita. I got this video from her because she actually put it together. I want to give her the credit. All right. She put this video together. And so in the video here, you see Haiti, you see Burkina Faso, you see I believe Niger or Mali or Chad. All right. So there are different things. So I love how she put the contents together. So I got this video from her. So I want to give her that praise. I want to give it to her. Okay. So Anita, she got her own platform. I subscribe to her as well. So she actually put this video together and I got it from her to how they call it to talk about it and things. So we are going now on the African continent and we are telling the white supremacy, the oppressor, we are telling the United States and EU, they have reached to a point, like Julia Malema said, we are already dead. So if we sit and not fight, what will become of it? We are already dead. So we just have to fight. And that is what currently going on, whether on the African continent, in fact, worldwide. That is what African people are taking stand. So let's see here. So folks, the topic is African nations are standing or are saying no to the US and EU strategic intervention. And we're going to get into it.
Avec notre Américain, avec la France Canada, yo fait nous en pile à bise, yo négocier pour détruire le peuple encore. Et c'est ça fait journée aujourd'hui là, nous camper, nous
Burkina seulement. Le problème de l'Afrique, là, c'est la France. Ça, je dis haut et fort. Parce que la France, on Libye, ou qu'on espace à trouver ce qu'on va Sahel. Tu vas créer à Zawaton comme Bene, comme Somenga. Tu vas signer Boura de Waka.
A lot has been going on here on the continent and, of course, in Haiti. And we see and hear everything that's going on. Protests spanning for days now. Our people here on the continent in Burkina Faso, as well as our people in Haiti, have been protesting, asking for the exact same thing. They want foreign interference to stop in their countries. And of course, mainstream media is doing what mainstream media does best. You know you cannot trust them to give you relevant information. I saw one coverage from Vice. They were talking about what was happening in Burkina Faso, but they did not even mention France. They did not mention in their coverage that the reason why the people of Burkina Faso were protesting was because they do not want France in their business anymore. They made no mention whatsoever of the sentiment of the Burkina Faso people and what they wanted. They said nothing about the atrocities that France is committing and how they fund these terrorist groups that caused the problem in the country, hell, the problem in the entire continent. So yeah, mainstream media, can't trust them to give you relevant information, can't trust them to give you the truth of the situation that's going on. Same thing with how they're covering what's going on in Haiti. This is why I'm so pleased that we now have social media and we can actually get authentic information as to exactly what is going on. Because relying on these people, you get nothing. Surprising? No, of course not. Because all these media outlets work hand in hand with and are down with the agenda of these invaders. They are all one and the same. Now the same rope tie them, constantly working together to achieve the exact same goal. Talking about how they want to send down to Haiti special troops or forces to go help in quotes, troops to help with the gangs and terrorist situation that's happening in Haiti. But the Haitian people are saying, no, keep your help, your special forces or troops to yourself. We don't want that. We would handle our problems ourselves. Let us handle our problems ourselves. You cannot keep forcing your help on us. And of course, yes, because these people come disguised as helpers, but they are actually the problem. They cause the instabilities, pay these terrorist groups, and they profit from the instabilities. It's the same thing that's happening in Africa. Madam Bokman from Twitter says, so a group of nations can sit in New York City and plan the invasion/occupation of Haiti, despite the opposition of millions of Haitians, yet colonialism is supposed to be over. Exactly. The constant meddling is annoying. How can you be in your own country discussing and planning what is going to happen in ours? Berlin conference literally happening every single freaking day. The Haitian people are also saying that they are tired of the sitting puppet leader that they have. They do not want that. They want a leader that's for the people, that care about the livelihood and the well-being of the people, not a leader who's answering to the US or to the UN. And they are within their rights. The people are using the power of the people. In their majority, they are standing strong, demanding what they want. We are presently looking at a revolution going down. The people are tired in Haiti. The people are tired in Burkina Faso, and they are demanding for a change. It's good to see them boldly standing for themselves. I stand with Haiti. I stand with Burkina Faso. I stand with my people. This journey we are on with a location in mind called freedom, we are definitely going to get there. All hands on deck, moving forward. We have to press on head on and grab what we want. Ibrahim Traoré, the young army captain who led the last Burkina Faso coup, will be inaugurated as interim president on Friday. I would like to end this video on this tweet. Colonel Assimi Goïta, referring to the present interim president of Mali. I am not a supporter of coups, but the courage with which this, not Burkina Faso, this is a mistake, Mali, okay? I am not a supporter of coups, but the courage with which this Mali leader is quickly dismantling the French game plan designed to steal Africa's resources and keep them poor and beholden is worthy of acclaim and emulation by all of Africa. I don't know about anyone else, but like Malcolm X says, by any means necessary. Colonel Assimi Goïta, the 36-year-old new Mali military leader, has cancelled 8 out of 11 secret agreements with France. The automatic confiscation of national financial reserves cancelled. The right of preference over any raw or natural resources discovered in the country cancelled. Priority to French interests and companies in public contracts and public tenders cancelled. Exclusive right to provide military equipment and train military officers of the colonies cancelled. The right for France to send troops and intervene militarily in the country to defend its interests cancelled. The obligation to send to France an annual check-up and a report on the status of the reserves cancelled. Renounce all military alliance with other countries, except France's permission, cancelled. The obligation to ally with France in case of world war or crisis, cancelled. And there, my friends, on this beautiful note, this video has come to an end. Let me know down below in the comment section what you think about all of this. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.
You, here, France, since the African awakening,
pour que le monde entier sache que vraiment nous ne sommes pas derrière la petite France. Nous ne voulons pas de la France. Nos militaires nous suffisent.
Voyons en ce moment témoigne cela, illustre cela. Alors, ni jama min filɛ nin ye tamasiyɛn dɔ de ye.
New reality.
This is what it's about, because if Africa does do something different, I assure you living standards of all those in Europe and North America and Asia is going to fall. Okay? And that is a big price to pay.
We turn off the pipe, they are crying, fully displaying their true self, worthless, complaining about the standard of living. You see, without us, these people, they are nobody. African people, stay focused, self-respect.
All right. Yeah, man. You know, at the end of the video, I mean, we saw everything, okay? So first of all, let's say this. We'll get to what I want to say. But let's say this about Haiti. What's going on in Haiti right now is this, okay? Because first of all, the United States have tried, right, to directly go in to Haiti with her military personnel, okay? But because the Haitian people have said no, and Africans around the world have said no, and platforms like this have spoken about it, have exposed the United States. All right? So what the United States tend to do? They cannot also directly send the UN, because that's what they've been doing. If they can't go directly, they send in the United Nations, so that the United Nations go in. And if the United Nations go in, exactly who went in? If the United Nations go in, exactly who went in? The United States. The white agenda. The white supremacy. Because even with the UN herself is a biased organization. The UN have been in Haiti. Okay? UN have been in Haiti, carry on the agenda of the United States. So even this time around, if UN go in, UN is there on the agenda of the United States. That's what we mean by strategic intervention. Because last 2 weeks we said it, right? We said if the United States invade Haiti, interfere into the Haitian affair, the same way they judge Russia, that's how we're going to judge them. The same way they classify Putin, that's how we'll classify them. So what is happening now? They took different turns. Okay? As I listen or watch the EU Parliament sitting in there talking, how they have to move in humanitarianly, right, to help Haiti. So that is the strategy they are trying to do now. Go in to carry supply, to go in as what, humanitarian, or release some organization or things like agency, right? So they don't want to pass directly through the UN because even the Haitian people are saying no. So they are trying to find other means. But the reality here is, if they go to Haiti at the end of the day, if they are the one to go to Haiti, what are indirectly carrying their military, the issue here is once they settle, right, they're going to run the affair of that country. That's the bottom line. The bottom line is for them to just settle. Once they do that, they run the affair of the country. So that is what they are trying to do now, because they don't want to go with military. And that's why then they were saying they want to carry supply, police supply, military supply. So the Haitian people said, if you carry military supply, you're going to give it to the current prime minister. And we want this current prime minister out. And this current prime minister is a puppet to the United States. So we want it out. And equally so, we want you out. So the solution of the Haitian people, let it be done by the Haitian people and not you, America, not you, Europe. Because there have never been solution when you, America, came in, when you, Europe, came in, when you, UN, came in. There have never been solution. There have always been chaos when you come in. Okay? So you saw at the end of the video that I just showed, you saw that white dude standing and saying, if Africa rise, Europe will fail. The Western world will fail. So what he said, they're going to do everything possible to make sure to keep the African nations to where they are. Don't forget now, Haiti is very rich in uranium. What they use to face their nuclear weapon and things, right? Do you think the United States want to lose it? Of course not. But yes, they're going to lose it because it is not for them. That's not their resources. They are not citizens of Haiti. So they have no right. In fact, there's a comment here. Let me pull that comment out if I will see it. I think it came from Lens. If I can see it again. I saw it, but the video was playing, so I just wanted to play. But I think it came from Lens or someone else. They said, why should a nation keep, I just paraphrasing it because I can't find it right now. Why should a nation keep begging another nation for freedom? Exactly. It makes no sense. It makes no reason. Why should another nation keep begging another nation for freedom? It makes no sense. So that is what the United States is trying to do. So since they can't go with the military, they have to go in with humanitarian. But guess what? Those humanitarian that are going, most of them are FBI, CIA. They are military personnel that will disguise themselves in civilian clothes, not in uniform, right? But they go there as humanitarian. Don't get it twisted. There are military personnel who are even doctors, who are nurses. So they go there. The issue here is to just get on the ground and have a base and sit and have a root. So those humanitarians that are going there, do you think they are just common civilian? They are military personnel. They are trained. So once they sit there, establish themselves, then you're not going to have a government anytime soon. You're not going to have an election anytime soon because they control it now. They run the affair of that place. So maybe after 5, 6, 7 years, and then when they have found somebody, and then they talk about election and make sure that person get in power. Will that still solve the situation? Absolutely not, because you have puppet government in the nation. So America, when a nation is telling you to back off, back off. EU, when a nation is telling you to back off, back off. If you can tell China to back off Taiwan, then why should you be doing the same thing to other nations that are telling you to back up and you don't want to back off? It's the same freedom, I believe. It's the same freedom the Taiwanese are fighting for, right? It's the same freedom the Haitians are fighting for. It's the same freedom Africans are fighting for on the African continent. So, folks, this time around, we are not going to wait for African leaders to come and run shoulder with Joe Biden or Washington, D.C. or Europe. Because you know what? The African continent is not just for the African leaders. So this is how we're going to fight. This is how we even gain so independent. And this is how we're going to do it. You guys say Africa have nothing. Africa lack everything. And then when Africans tell you to move, you don't want to move. When Africans hold their resources, then you suffer. As we speak right now, protests are taking place all around Europe because of the hardship. As we speak right now, Africans have come to realize the importance of Africa to the world. They all are begging the African nation. They all are begging the African continent for Africa to take a stand with them. Do you know how many times Zelensky have called the African continent, have called African leaders and begging the African leaders that the only way peace can go in Ukraine is when Africa intervenes. No wonder why the United Nations does not want the African continent to have a permanent seat in the United Nations. And I think I spoke about that once. I said, if Africa have a permanent seat in the United Nations, Africa will control the UN. And that means even the United States will not be part of the UN. The United States will leave the UN. EU will leave the UN. They will not be part of the UN. I'm telling you right now. So, are you looking at the power of Africa? We don't even have a permanent seat in the UN. We are just a visiting member. That is why most of the time when African leaders are speaking, the hall is empty. But in this current time of global crisis, are you seeing what is going on? Where Africans are holding back. It's not even going 2-3 years, right? But a first world country, a continent, or nations are now looking like almost like third world. We haven't gone anywhere yet. We haven't gone anywhere yet. They haven't even gone 2-3 years. But they are now smelling what a third world country or nation look like. Just because we are holding our resources now. Just because we are telling Europe, no, we're going to stay neutral. Just because we are telling America, no, we're going to stay neutral. You see what is going on with them? You see the power of Black people. Do you see the power of Black people? Let's continue here. So we are staying in Haiti, okay? We are staying in Haiti. So mainstream media won't bring these things to you. And that is why we're going to use social media to bring the message to our people. Okay? Now, let me say this. The last time I checked, Barack Obama said democracy is failing because the people have lost interest in the media. Let me hold on. Barack Obama said democracy is failing because the people have lost interest in the media. But let me say this to Barack Obama. Democracy, Western democracy, make it clear. Don't say democracy is failing. No. Western democracy is failing because the people have lost trust in the media. Don't just say, don't put everything in a box. Because there are various forms of democracy. As I know, there is the African democracy and there is the European democracy. They are two different things. They are not the same. So Western democracy rely on the media. Western democracy make a citizen lazy. Western democracy lies to its citizen. And you know, one of the biggest enemies to you is not the person that lied to you. Because someone can lie to you and allow you to accept the lies or not to accept the lies. But the person that teaches you how to lie is one of your biggest enemies. The person that teaches you how to lie, not the person that lied to you, but someone that teaches you to lie, is your biggest enemy or one of your biggest enemies. Because you know what? Whenever someone teaches you to lie, the person is teaching you to hate the truth. Whenever someone teaches you to lie, it means the person is teaching you to hate the truth. And whenever you see the truth, you will hate the truth. You will hate knowledge. Because you are being lied to, you are being taught lies. You are being taught how to lie. So when you see the truth, you hate the truth. You love the lies and hate the truth, which is a very big thing. So someone can lie to you, that's fine. But the person that teaches you to lie is a worst enemy. Because that person teaches you to lie and to hate the truth. So when Barack Obama said, democracy is failing because the people have lost trust in the media, he did not specify it. But let me specify it today. Barack Obama, Western democracy is failing because the people have lost trust in the media. Because Western democracy function basically what the media bring to the people. The media make the people lazy and not to go find out the truth. So whatsoever you tell them, they believe it. And they have come to realize that your media are the worst enemies, the biggest enemies. So they are no longer listening to it. They are no longer following you. They are no longer taking your narrative. And that is why you think your democracy is failing. Because the people are now following channels that are giving them the right information. The people, they prefer going on the media, on small platform to get the true and the actual information. And that is why you think your Western democracy is failing. Because your democracy is not truthful. It's not real. It's full of lies. It teaches people to lie. It teaches people to hate the truth. And that is why Kanye West spoke the truth and you hate him. When he spoke yesterday against the black man, you praise him. And your social media, not your social media, but your channel, your media was there all over praising him. But today, Your media no longer praising him. So that is why people lost interest in your media. And you think your democracy is failing. Your democracy has failed long time. You never practiced democracy. You never had democracy. You've been lying to people. Let me make that clear with you, Mr. Ex-President. Mr. Ex-President. Let me make that clear. Don't pour all the democracy in the box, because African democracy is different from Western democracy. And that is why when you saw it that African democracy is the most efficient and effective one, you went against their leader and start killing them. Because you saw that African democracy and leaders that believe in African democracy, they are most effective and efficient, you went against them and killed all of them. And the one that took the Western ideology of democracy, you kept them in power. You support them. Because your form of democracy is oppressive. Facts. Let's continue. Exactly, Bob. African socialism is different from European socialism as well. Exactly. Everything African people practice is absolutely different from the European form of their practices. It's different. Everything. They are not the same. Our culture is different from the European culture. Everything is different. Our way of life is different. And when I say different, I mean our way of life is more humanistic. It's more human. It's more intertwined. It's more lovely. I'm not saying no problem, but it's different. Facts. Let's see here. So let's continue here. So you're right about that. African socialism is different from the European socialism. And that is why if you learn just the European form of socialism in Europe or in America here, you will not try to understand the African aspect. And you will use the European aspect to justify the African aspect, in which you will get it wrong. Let's continue here. Let's continue with this video here. Let's see here. Okay.
Now.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman in New York, joined by Democracy Now! Co-host Juan Gonzalez in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Hi, Juan.
Hi, Amy, and welcome to all of our listeners and viewers across the country and around the world.
Well, we begin today's show looking at the crisis in Haiti, where protesters continue to demand the resignation of the U.S.-backed Prime Minister Ariel Henry and against the deployment of international troops to Haiti amidst a growing humanitarian crisis. A blockade of a key port in Port-au-Prince, the capital, by gangs has led to a critical shortage of fuel, food, and water for millions of people. Meanwhile, Haiti's fighting a new outbreak of cholera. On Monday, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for a, quote, armed action to reopen the port.
It's an absolutely nightmarish situation for the population of Haiti, especially Port-au-Prince. I believe that we need not only to strengthen the police, strengthening it with training, with equipment, with a number of other measures, but that in the present circumstances, we need an armed action to release the port and to allow for a humanitarian corridor to be established.
On Monday, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, pushed for the UN Security Council to authorize a
So you see what I want in there? That's a UN workers or employee that spoke, right? I don't even want to call his name, Antonio Guterres or something. You heard what he said. The solution is for the Haitian people to allow the United States military to go in. Since when it has become a solution or the solution for the United States military to go in? Because as far as we are concerned, that we have come to learn the United States military have been in Haiti for so long. But the problem of the Haitian people has never been solved. Why always the United States or UN think that they are the one to solve people's problem? When they have in their own country, they cannot solve their own problem in their own country. But they always want to go to the next man country to solve their problem and to say that people, they are handicapped. You cause the chaos and you want to capitalize on the chaos. So the only way the Haitian people the problem can be solved is to have UN in a country. But in fact, UN been in a country for since, I don't know, over 100 years now. Their problem can never still be solved. United States Army have been in a country for over 100 years now. Their problem can still not be solved. And that is why the people are protesting that them get out. And you're not listening. It is not by force if someone tells you they do not need your services no more. It is not by force if someone tells you they do not need you in your country no more. Just leave. If someone said they don't need your service, they don't need your help, carry your help. Bring it back to your country. There are people in your country that need help. They are homeless people. In a 50 state here, every state have a ghetto. Every state have a, how they call it, homeless people. Come and help them. Bring your humanitarian, workers here. Help them. There are people in America that need humanitarian to help them, to take them from the slum community. Bring it. Come and help them. But a nation is telling you, we do not need you. Leave. Leave.
Non-UN international security mission to go to Haiti.
The second resolution we're working on would authorize a non-UN international security assistance mission to help improve the security situation and enable the flow of.
Now you see, right? After people have protest, people have talked that they don't need in there, they don't need the how they call it, United States military to be present in Haiti. This is Lena Thomas Greenfield, another horse Negro, standing here saying now they have to take another strategic measure. At the end of the day, it is still the intervention of the United States in there. Period.
Of desperately needed humanitarian aid.
But in the streets of Haiti, many protesters have condemned the United States for pushing to intervene again in Haiti. Protesters are also demanding the resignation of Ariel Henry, who has ruled since the assassination of Jovenel Moïse on July 7, 2021. This is former Haitian senator and presidential candidate Moïse Jean-Charles.
Freedom. We are not in the states of the United States. We are not provinces of the United States. We are a country. We are a republic. They cannot give us orders. This time we do not need them. If Ariel Henry does not resign and the bank officials don't change their minds, we will make a revolution in the country.
We're joined now by Guerline Joseph,
She is co-founder and executive director of Haitian Bridge Alliance, which advocates for humanitarian assistance to Haitians and other Black immigrants from the Caribbean and Africa. Today, she's joining us from Mexico City, where she's looking into the impacts of the Title 42 pandemic Trump-era policy that's been used to block at least 2 million migrants, including tens of thousands of Haitians, from applying for asylum at the U.S.-Mexico border. The Biden administration recently expanded Title 42 to begin expelling Venezuelan nationals. Gerline Joseph, welcome back to Democracy Now! Before we move to what's happening at the border, let's talk about what's happening in Haiti right now. You have the reports that chaos is engulfing the country, that it's become so total, the social fabric is so torn that the country is on the verge of collapse. And then you have the UN Secretary General calling for military action. Can you respond to the protests and the response?
Good morning, Amy. Thank you so much for having us. What we are seeing in Haiti right now is extremely painful as a Haitian woman, as a Haitian American woman, to see how the country has been dipping into this abyss. And we have been in communications with civil societies in Haiti to understand what is needed on the ground. And they are telling us they need a Haitian-led solution in order for the country to get out of where we are right now. As you mentioned, Amy, rampant violence, gang violence, political turmoil, assassination of the president, still no answer. And we are seeing people really protesting on the street for the right to sovereign solution to the issues that are happening. And they are saying no to an invasion, no to armed invasion from the international community, because every time there is the so-called help invasion that people go to Haiti result in chaos. You also mentioned the cholera pandemic that is in the rise right now, and that itself is a result of the UN being in Haiti after the earthquake. So we are seeing and hearing, and we are taking the time to understand what Haiti needs right now and how we move forward.
And Gerline Joseph, I wanted to ask you, we keep hearing about this gang violence that is rampant throughout Haiti, but there are some Haitians in the U.S. and as well as other radicals and socialists here in this country who say that all these gangs are not alike. That for instance, that the FRG9, the Revolutionary Forces of the G9 family, led by Jimmy Cherizet, are much more political, and they're the ones that are dealing with this blockade of the port, whereas other gangs like the GPEP are actually part of work with the Ariel Henry government and the police, and the United States seems to be more focused on FRG9. Could you talk about whether there are differences between these gangs and what's your sense of how the narrative is being shaped here in the U.S.?
Ms. Life said they want to help Haiti, yet they drove them away at the border on horseback, like their slave master. They are. Exactly. So you see the hypocrisy in here, right? So they drove away the Haitian people with horses, whipping them like psh, psh. But here it is. They are going saying that they want to help the Haitian people gain freedom, right? But they said something about the UN in Haiti, right? About the cholera, right? And the lady said UN have been in that particular part of the world for so long, and our cholera been there. It's not just today, since the earthquake, and they've been there. But the United Nations have been unable to help the people. So that is why the people are saying, then get out, and that we bring someone that we feel can help us.
Absolutely. One thing I want to clarify is the fact that this gang pandemic, this great gang phenomenon, is not native to Haiti. It's imported to Haiti. We are not used to this type of violence when it comes to gang. This is a new system that is being put in place, or that has been put in place to destabilize the country. I do not know who is supporting which gang. I do not know which activities are being supporting either by outside sources or people within the government. But what we are seeing right now is that people are fearful. We are seeing entire neighborhood being displaced in Martissant, in Croix des Bouquets, in Pétionville, where we never had any violence before, that we are seeing all places in the country dealing with gang violence. And again, it is imperative that we understand the narrative that's being shared is that Haiti has never had to deal with this level of gang violence. This is new. This is backed by many different other outside sources, and we must understand that we have to come to a resolve where we rid the country of violence so people don't have to flee. Right now, we are seeing people fleeing by boat, either going to Puerto Rico, to the Bahamas, to Miami, and they are dying on the way here. We are seeing people fleeing from Haiti, making their way to the border in Mexico because they cannot be at home. We are seeing the political turmoil, the gang violence that are being financed or supported by whomever, that are creating a space where people cannot survive. That is why when we speak to civil societies in Haiti, we understand that in order for us to move forward, there must be sustainability, there must be proper school, there must be proper hospital, there must be, the agriculture needs to be revived in order for people to be able to be safe at home and not have to flee.
Can you talk about the Montana Accords, what they are, and the group that that developed them following the assassination?
So another thing again, you always see the mainstream media narrative of the gang in Haiti, right? Put the blame on the victim. But you see here, like what the lady is saying directly, right? That the whole issue of the gang recently have increased and is kind of like backed by outside sources or by outside entity or by outside power or by outside influence. And what they are doing is that those outside influence are doing that to, how they call it, destabilize the country so that they can move in and take advantage. Imagine, we are showing a video here before where they say they create the chaos and capitalize on the chaos and move in. And that is what exactly they are doing. It's like on the African continent, right? The jihadi are the people that have the most sophisticated weapon. The ISIS are the people that have the most sophisticated weapon. The Boko Haram are the people that have the most sophisticated weapon. The terrorist group are the people that have the most sophisticated weapon. I can tell you, if Haiti was not in South America here, right, around America here, or around the white supremacy, or around Europe, or around the Western world, but now those gang groups could have been ISIS or Al-Qaeda or Boko Haram. We all know the supporter, the founder or supporter of these terrorist groups. We all know them, who they are. So they are not going to support terrorist activities or group around their nation. So they will support gang activities, just like in the United States. So every time they want to put the blame on black people, or black people are into gang, or African Americans are into gang, they are this. But they do not discuss the underlying condition of factors or who carry those gang or drugs into the black neighborhood. So that's the same thing. So that is why the African situation are the same. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. As a black man, the situation is the same. And that is why we need to unite. That is why we need to come together. Because the moment we unite and wake up to the reality, things become hard for them. And you can see that on the African continent, what is happening. You can see what been going on, holding our resources, holding our diamond, our gold, our uranium, holding our minds. And you see what been happening to them. This is how we can strangle them. And you see how they've been struggling in Europe there now. You see how all of them backing the African nation, how all of them backing African leaders. But the time has come for Africa to take her place. If you have ever disrespected African, the time has come to tell you, no, it's enough. We will stand up. Whether black nations are on the African continent or out of the African continent, we stand in solidarity with that nation and work together as black people. Because I can go to Haiti, I won't look different. You see the about it? I can go to Haiti, I'm not going to look different. I'm going to look exactly like the people. I can go to the African continent, go to any part of Africa. I'm not going to look different. I'm going to look exactly. Nobody's going to judge me. I'm going to I can go to Haiti and find love there. Nobody will hate me because we look the same. We got to have one code as African people. And this is the time. And you can see the rising. No stopping back. Like Nkrumah said, forward, ever. Backward, never. And we are moving. Let's continue.
Nation of Haiti's former president in 2021?
I am not an expert of the Montana Accord, but what we understand is that over 500 groups, civil societies, political groups have come together to come up with a solution that is led by Haitians to be able to find a way moving forward. What we understand from the Montana Accord, it is the only alternative we have right now to really getting ourselves out of the political turmoil, possibly having a safe transition where then we can move to a better space in Haiti. So again, I am not an expert in the Montana Accord, but from understanding and speaking with many different groups and people who are involved, it seems to be a good alternative in order to move forward. But what we are seeing is that there's no real engagement between the Montana Accord parties, the international communities, people who wants to support Haiti and wants to be able to get a way out of the issues we are dealing right now. So we are calling on the international community, on the US and Canada, to not side with one with the political people in power, but to make sure that they are including the civil societies, the people of Haiti, who are able to take their future in hand and see how we can work together. At this point, we believe that Haiti needs support. Haiti needs to be stabilized. Haiti needs to have sustainable ecosystem so that people can live, people can prosper, not just survive, but thrive.
Now, I'm not going to take much time with this, but I just want to get to a last statement that she made about the Montana Accord. But I mean, she said she's not an expert. Okay, so that means she don't really have much information on that. But she said something. She said at this point of time, even with the Montana Accord and the current prime minister, the government in power, they are not collaborating. They are not coming together. Okay? And there are information that both of them, even the, how they call it, the international community, so-called international community, are not collaborating along with the Montana Accord and the Heron guy who is in power, the current prime minister, right? Now, I think we spoke about this last 2 weeks. And the reason to that is that both entities, the reason why they are not coming together is because both entities are being controlled by the United States. Okay? Both entities are being controlled by the United States. They are being funded by the United States. But what happened here is one is opposition and one is not the opposition. One is opposition wanting to come in power and one is already in power. So both of them are not agreeing with each other, but they are being supported by the same entity, which is making it difficult for peace to exist, which is making it difficult for both to come together, which is making it difficult for international entity to go in. And these are the same international entity, right? Even the United States or EU now. How will these people go in? The United States cannot go in and favor the prime minister, or the United States cannot go in and favor the Maternal Accord, because these two groups are being supported by the same people. Okay? So if they go in to ask the Maternal Accord and the prime minister to make peace, who's going to become the prime minister? Will the current prime minister leave and then someone from the Maternal Accord come and become the prime minister? Or will the current prime minister stay when the opposition, the Maternal Accord, want to come in? So you see where the problem is going, and that is why the international entity, the so-called international entity, and the so-called prime minister, and the so-called Maternal Accord, they all have their interests. That is why they are not coming together. They are not resolving on one agenda, because they all have different agenda, but even though being supported by the same entity. So you see what is going on here. That is why they are not coming together. And that is why the United States need to step out of the issue of Haiti, because she's creating problem. Let the Haitian people themselves determine, let them go to the ballot box and put in a government they trust, they want, that government will be answerable to them and not to y'all. To them and not to y'all and not to you people, but to the Haitian people. But again, you see, that's the difference between Western democracy and African democracy. Western democracy, the people or the government is not answerable to the people. The government is not answerable to the people. The government is answerable toward the man who gave the money. Is answerable to the United States. It's answerable to Europe. That's the bottom line about it. It's answerable to the colonizer. Period. But with this, the Haitian people are taking the true step. Freedom never come easy. Ottawa Toussaint did not find it easy. It is once said that Ottawa Toussaint defeated the colonizer, the French. It did not come easy when it did it. It is once said that Haiti got her independence in 1804. It wasn't easy. It did not come easy. Let's continue. Let me take this out. I want to get somewhere back to the African continent. So some things we got to run after quick because we run out of time. So I'm going to run through it. So again, this is the African continent. As you can see, This time around, we're not waiting for African leaders to come and have meeting. And, you know, we are taking it on. All we are asking for is for our leaders to follow us, because our leaders have seen that even the Western world do not care about them. Our leaders have seen if they do not bow down to Washington, D.C., at the end of the day, they will sanction them. So the only solution is for our leaders, for the African leaders, along with the citizens, to come together. So this is what happened on the African continent. And this is it. Like I said, the time has come.
Africa Dance Show.
All right, so these are African warriors in Ethiopia, okay? These are African warriors. I'm not saying military or African military, right? These are African warriors in Ethiopia, okay? And fighting against the United States intervention in Ethiopia. Sending messages to the United States that Eritrea, Ethiopia, and the rest, the TPLF, they are one. They are the same. So they cannot allow Western world to come and sponsor one person, give them ammunition, and then they go against each other. And at the end of the day, it is African people dying. It is Ethiopian dying, not American. It is Eritrean people dying, not American. It is TPLF people dying and not American. So these are African warriors. So this is what's happening around the globe with African nation and with African people. The time has come.
And please feel free to.
That was just a video in Ethiopia of what is going on, okay? So even those are traditional warrior, and they were singing their traditional warrior dance or songs, okay? That no more people come and put, you know, us against one another. And then at the end of the day, we fight, we kill, we destroy, okay? And we are African. But they sit in their country or in their nation there and then look down on us, insult us, bring weapons, and then we kill one another for who? For what? So that is what's happening. Those are not military people. Those who are traditional warrior, okay? Singing their song and saying, no more. Enough is enough. We don't need any foreign intervention. We don't need the United States. Let them stay to where they are. We are African. We will manage our affair. So let's see the second stage to that as well. So that is what's happening. Okay. No more waiting for African leaders to come to Washington, D.C. to discuss African problem. It's not happening. No more. And African leaders too, bravo to them. They are learning too. So all we need for them to do, listen to the people you serve, and you all work together.
Is the African News Update. Ethiopia government makes gains to liberate the country and end the 2-year-long war. In the last few days, it has been reported that Ethiopian forces have made significant gain in liberating towns that have been under the TPLF rebels for the last 2 years. The most recent significant gain is the capture of the international airport at the capital, Mekelle, and the town itself. The Ethiopian forces were met with open arms and no resistance, with people celebrating the end of the agonizing war. Towns like Shire, Axum, Adwa, Meitebri, Alamata, and Agrigat has also been recently liberated from the TPLF rebels. The government has already started bringing order, relief aid, restoring electricity, communication, and restoring roads in the liberated areas. The question remains, where is the international community now? Nowhere to be seen, unfortunately, nor heard, as no reports of aid going to those liberated towns have been mentioned, nor has the Western media announced the liberation of any of these cities. It has also been reported that the Ethiopian Defense Forces made calls to the TPLF soldiers who would like to peacefully surrender to go to the liberated areas, where many have done willingly. It is also rather unfortunate that this information is yet to be relayed by Western media, who only want to promote the Ethiopian government as the aggressor and promote TPLF propaganda of destruction, death, and plunder. Over the 2-year conflict, fighters affiliated with the TPLF, a designated terrorist group, have deliberately killed thousands of people, raped thousands of women and girls, some as young as 14, and looted private and public property, and even forcefully conscripted children into their soldiers. Despite all these atrocities, the international communities have also portrayed the TPLF terrorists as the victims and spread false news and propaganda in what has been going on in the TPLF held territories. Unfortunately, the same international community and media, which is promoting and eagerly talking about the ongoing peace talks between Ethiopia and the TPLF terrorists, are the same who keep silent and not report of towns held under the TPLF.
All right, so I skip that era. So basically what is happening here now is when a war was going on, mainstream media, Western mainstream media was reporting about the killings, the this, the that, how it's bad, because that's how they want to portray Africa, right? The war zone, the scariest zone, the scariest continent. Now, but the moment the Ethiopian prime minister, the government, right, began to take steps to seize control, to move in, right, what happened? Mainstream media never gave report about the achievement of the government, about the achievement of what they are doing to put things under control, right? They never get report because it is not in their favor. They won't get report. So for each time we make progress, that progress is against their progress. So when we make progress, what happened here is it put them in a downward position. So whenever we move in an upward position, it put them in a downward position. So whenever we move in a downward position, it put them in an upward position. So you look at that equilibrium. Okay, so that equilibrium will never be balanced. Okay, it will never be balanced. So the more we go up, the more they fall down, they fall below. So the more they go up, the more they fall we fall below. And as we falling below, what they do is they help to create the chaos more and more, and in fact, fuel the chaos for us to go more and more down. Okay, but since he saw what's happening recently, where the government have taken responsibility to put things under control, right? What happened? We go up and it fall down. No report on it of the progress that have been made in that region. That is just to tell you, right? It's never going to be bread and butter between the colonizer and the people that was colonized. It's never going to be bread and butter between the enslaver and the people that were enslaved. Period. What is well understood cannot follow be explained. Let's continue. Let's see the next one.
Today, we are discussing Ethiopia, my country. Ethiopians staged demonstrations in many parts of the country. There was protest in Addis, there was protest in Desse, Gambella, Harar, Doredawa, Afar, in so many towns and cities because of the mainstream media and the Western world's narrative, false narrative, and interference. So basically, the theme of the protest was I stand for Ethiopia, I raise my voice. So we are saying we are tired, we are done with your fake narratives and you lying on us and about us. We're just tired of it. It's not fair to lie on us like this. And, you know, even the protest obviously was not broadcasted. You wouldn't find it on mainstream media because they don't care about it. The same thing I said about Haiti. They rather spin the narrative and talk about something else rather than do their jobs, which is reporting on what's going on in the world. But that's not the case because they have an agenda and they have masters to serve. And unfortunately, it's not the viewers and it's not the people that they're serving. So basically, what Ethiopians are saying is, we're done. Just leave us alone and hands off Ethiopia. That was one of the slogans people were chanting. It's because they have tried time and time and time again, especially in this recent few years, to dismantle Ethiopia. Unfortunately, they are using our own people. They are using misinformation. They are misleading people into thinking that Ethiopia is collapsing, basically. And the actual truth is, yes, there's conflict in Ethiopia, especially in the northern part of Ethiopia, as you all know, or maybe not all of you know, so maybe I'll just give you a backstory. There was a government once upon a time, 29 years ago, took power. Those people, their party, led Ethiopia, as I said, for 25 plus years. And then another leader came. So just imagine this, just to give you a picture. Since I came into this world, I only knew one party, one government, as in the same administration, never changed. So, you know, elections were rigged, people were tired, and they started protesting. When they were trying to stop people from protesting, it started getting worse. So because of that, a new leader came into power, which is Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. And after he took power, they didn't like his move, the way he's moving, the previous leader. So they went up north, and that's where they were situated because most of them came.
Now, when she said they didn't like him, the prime minister, when she said they, she's talking about the Western world, okay? She's talking about the colonizer, all right? She's talking about the people that always pretend to African people. Those are the people that she's talking about when she said they.
From the same region. So once they went back there, waging a war, if you're attacking a military base and you are killing people wanted to be in power. It's just so sad. But, you know, obviously this is a simplistic way of explaining to you. There's a lot that went on. But to make a long story short, the West, specifically the US or the EU, they support mainly the rebel group because the rebel group used to be in power for 25 plus years and they have relationships with them and they used them to do certain things. So they want them to be in that position of power. So they're supporting them indirectly by spinning the narrative.
All right, so I want to get to somewhere quick, and that's why I took this out. So you heard a narrator saying the US, EU support. Hold on, folks. I had to put my computer on charger. That's why you see no light. But let me see. Just let me hurry real quick. All right. So she said the United States, EU, they support the rebel group, the TPLF in Ethiopia. Okay, so that is why the current government is making progress and there have been no report done on it. So how can the United States or the EU support the rebel group and at the same time we depend on them to give up advice on how to carry on democracy? That is why the Western democracy is different from the African democracy. That is why Obama said democracy is failing because people have lost interest in the media. It's because of that, because we do not trust the reporter from the United States. We do not trust the reporter from Europe. We do not trust any Western media. And that is why you guys are failing. And that is why we are recognized, or we have realized that your form of democracy is not the true form of democracy. Your form of democracy is oppressive, is suppressing, is lies, is based on genocide, is based on selling arms to rebels, selling arms to terrorist groups, and so forth and things. It's based on creating a chaos and capitalizing on our chaos to go in and exploit the people. That's how the Western form of democracy is. But now, let's get to the final thing I want to talk about and some of the solution that we have not mentioned and that I'm going to bring out before we can close. We are almost about to go, folks. I know you guys been here for so long. So we're going to look at an international forum that was done on the African continent. I can say, I know EU have been taking place, right? But for me, I would say one of the very first time, okay, to have such a meeting that took place, all right, on the African continent among African leaders. But again, there were some things that were discussed in there. It was not 100% correct, but I love the idea that this time around, they were able to host African agenda on the African continent by African leaders to discuss African problem, all right? But yet instead, they did not forget their master, and that's where we're coming. So let's see. All right. So it says here, International Forum on Peace and Security in Africa open in Dakar, Senegal. Now, let me see this. First of all, I have problem when I say international. Okay, maybe international because African nation OSA. That's just how I want to believe. Okay, African nation OSA of the African continent. I don't know if those are the people that they were talking about international. I don't know. But for me, I do not want, I cannot say international. Even if the African nation is not on the African continent, it's still outside of Africa. I do not call it international, right? I will still call it African nation or African people. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to look at, just because you are not seated on the African continent, look at you as, different person or different, nationality or whatsoever the case may be. Because what we are saying here is about understanding, the Africanness. Okay, it's about understanding the blackness, just how other people understand their race. All right, and that is why even in America here, when they want to discuss things that affect white people, they don't say white British American, they don't say white Australian American, they don't say white Ukrainian American, they don't say XYZ and etc. and etc. All right. So again, they found a way to use words that will unite them. And that's the same thing we should be doing. So when they say international forum, but I don't know what I was saying here. But again, let's see. Maybe we'll get to why they say international forum. And that's what I have problem with. And that's why, again, they are African leaders. They are human beings. They are not God, okay? They can do mistake. But if we see that mistake, it is unto us to correct that mistake along with them. We can criticize them, but give them positive criticism, okay? So we are not going to pull them down to say, oh, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to lead them out there to keep making the sound decision. But if they make mistake, hey, they are in there. They're not going to see everything. We are out. We're going to see almost everything. When you are out, you see the clear picture than when you are in. So we're going to let them know that while you guys are in discussing, this is why you guys said it did not make sense. And it did not make sense because of X, Y, Z. And we're going to follow up with, how do you call it, a host report from Congress, from the United States Congress. We're going to follow up with that. And then this is what we're going to tell them why you guys said it did not make sense. So let's see here. They said the Dakar International Forum on Peace and Security in Africa opened a door in the Senegalese capital on Monday. And this happened, let's see, when did it take place? I think it happened last week. Yeah, it happened. Okay, it happened last week on the 24th. No, the 25th. All right. Yeah, this week. Sorry, it happened this week on the 25th. October 25th. All right. So it says for 2 days, delegate and participant in a conference will focus on the continent security, challenges. The event is attended by minister and military and representative of international organization. Now, this is where I have problem again. International representative of international organization. This is where I have problem. They never leave their master. They never leave the people that spoon feed. Why? Because the last time I checked, when Europeans were discussing European issue, they did not invite any African organization. The last time I checked, when America was discussing things affecting America or North America, when they were discussing things that affect North America, the last time I checked, they did not invite any African entity. Okay? And that is why the last time, 2 weeks ago, when we gave on a platform here, when the African journalists were at the White House, when they were asking questions to the White House press secretary, she ignored them. She was telling them, you do not belong here. You are not supposed to be here. This is not about African journalists being here. This is not about African representatives being here. This is about America. This is about American people and American only. We have to see how these people play their games. How can you be discussing an African issue or an African solution? Because at the end of the day, for the reason for which in the first place you going together to talk about African solution, it has been created by the same people. So how can you bring the same people into your meeting to discuss a solution that was created by them? Let's continue here. Now, Africa, they say Africa must make an effort on its own security. How can you be talking about making an effort on your own security and you invite outside entities that have bases all on the African continent? Do you think it is in their favor for your security to be equipped? Do you think it is in their favor for you to have a meeting to discuss about African security, where your security will stand and defend the African continent and the African people? That means their bases will be out of Africa and they do not want it. Why should you invite them there? Do you think they want that to happen? Let's continue. You shouldn't have, and don't. Again, let's continue here. According to them, there must be African solidarity first. Now, you see, sometimes these things are written on paper, right? It sounds nice, but it don't really get to me. How can you say there must be an African solidarity first before calling for foreign solidarity? And you have foreign entity or foreign or international organization in this meeting. Do you think they want to hear this? Because the moment they come back, they come into their government, they come into their official and tell them this is what they are discussing, this is what they want to do. Do you think they're going to do it? They're going to come up with another strategy. They're going to come up with another thing that will strangle you, and that everything you say in this meeting will come to fail. Let's continue here. According to them, then we have to focus on the training of people. Africa primary capital. Everything you guys saying here, none of these things is in the interest of the Osa war. None of those things in the interest of the Western war, in the interest of Europe, none of them, because they do not want you to stand. So why should you have such meaningful meeting and you invite them? You invite your kiddo to come and see what you're discussing about him or her. How can you invite your kiddos on how you're going to protect yourself so that your kiddo cannot kill you? Just a scenario. Let's continue. According to them, we must take care of the youth. Do you think they want you to take care of the youth? Because the people, tell me, I mean, so nice information. But again, first of all, they know Africa, when it comes to youth population, youth empowerment, is the African continent in the world. Do you think they want to see the African youth being empowered? That gave rise to Africa. They don't want it. That is why they keep creating sicknesses, like how they did it in Haiti. The United Nations been in Haiti for X amount of years, but yet the chloride stay there, poisoning the people water. Who knows? So do you think they want to see youth empowerment? We must take care of the youth. Good. Sir General Mohammed Zanzouk Olu Issa. They went as far as saying Senegalese President Macky Sall, the current chairperson of the African Union, spoke at the opening ceremony of the event, which he hoped will support Africa's bid for a permanent seat on the G20 and the United Nations Security Council. Some of these people, they don't get it yet. They don't get it. These people don't get it. The reason for which, first of all, these people have G20 is not because they actually want to solve the European problem. That's not the primary reason. The primary reason of the G20, when they meet, is to discuss things against you. It's to discuss things that will be in their favor. It's to discuss how they can stay committed so they can be divided. Because divided they will fall. Divided they will not succeed on the African continent. That's the reason of this G20 or whatsoever. And then you asking to be part of them. The reason for which they are still on the UN is because you do not have a permanent seat. And the moment you have a permanent seat on the United Nations Secretary Council or whatever it may be, they all will leave. You see, the moment they start committing crime against you, and the moment you start talking about going to the UN, carrying or how they call it, them to the UN for crime committed, what they did, they left that aspect, that branch of the UN. They left. And then you asking for a permanent seat. The day Africa have a permanent seat, that day, these imperialist nations, they will cease to exist, to be part of the United Nations. Because you know what? They know you will go after them. to give you a permanent seat? First of all, let's look at this. How are they going to give you a permanent seat onto the United Nations Council when recent things have been happening? They've been asking you to take their side, to stay with them, to vote along with them, and you said, no, we're going to stay neutral. You think they're going to have you to have a permanent seat? If all of you guys are going to be a buffoon, if all of you guys are going to be a puppet to them and vote for them in favor of them, they're going to do this because they know even with you becoming a permanent member in the UN, if anything comes on the table to vote, you will vote for them. But right now they have seen that if anything go on the table to vote, then when you vote in their favor, you will not do it. Let's get this clear, folks. African leaders, you guys are doing your best. I'm not going to bash you guys. Not all the time we'll bash you guys. But hey, sometimes open your mind, your brain, think. So with this, they are not going to allow you to have a permanency on the G20. They are not going to allow you to have a permanency on the United Nations Security Council. They're not going to do it. The day it happens, they always cease to leave the United States. The United Nations. They always leave. All the colonizers will leave the United Nations. The NATO nation, they always leave the United Nations. Because they know you will be going after them. Because they know there is nothing they will bring to the table that they will need your vote, you will vote for it. As long as it's not right. As long as it is not right, they know you will not vote for it. Let's continue. So do not go in an African meeting to discuss African problem and you're still talking about you want to have a permanency in the G20, in the UN Security Council. No, my friend, Marquis Sala, it doesn't work that way and it's not going to work that way. Do not look for recognition with the white man or with the European or with the colonizer. Don't do it. You saw what Kanye West did? He tried to look for recognition with the colonizer, with the imperialists. What happened? You see what he is today? It can never work. Let's continue here. For us, that the UN, the AU, for us, it is important that Africa position itself first of all in terms of multilateral. Now, first of all, listen, you cannot position yourself first and then at the same time welcoming people who are not supposed to be in your meeting. When Europeans are going for their meeting, that they want to position themselves first, they don't go and bring African personnel in. When North America are going for their meeting to where they want to position themselves first, they don't go and bring African representatives to be there because nothing that they're going to discuss is going to pertain to African people. It's going to pertain to Black people. Let's continue here. They said Africa needs to be like a giant. Now, you cannot be like a giant at the same time inviting the enemies into your meeting of what's going to make you a giant. Because they know that if you become a giant, you will go against them, you will fight against them, you will become self-independent. You will not need them. And in reality, if you don't need them, they're going to suffer because they need you. And they don't want to come to you begging you. They don't want to come to you. They don't want for the table to change. They don't want for the table to turn. So you cannot have such productive meeting and you invite the enemies. And that is why you guys been failing. You have a meeting to have one, how they call it, a currency in Africa, and when you invite the colonizer, you invite the enemy and the king, they infiltrate it. Where I want going today? Nowhere. No currency. No African currency. Let's continue here. Africa need to be like a giant and to be considered at the table of the Security Council. Again, it's not going to work. And to have the right to veto. If not, now you see, and to have the right to veto. First of all, they don't want you to do it. Now you say all of these things here. You need to be at the table to have the right to veto. You think they're going to allow you? Because they need a puppet. They need a puppet. They need puppet to become part of that Security Council. So that when the United States says veto it, you veto it. Vote, you vote. But to come and use a word here to say Africa need to be there so that if anything, if Africa want to veto it, they veto it, they want to vote it, they vote it. You think that when you have your own voice, if they wanted you to be self-dependent, they wouldn't have gone systematically, directly or indirectly, to assassinate your African leaders who wanted this kind of a lifestyle for African people. They wouldn't have done that. Get that into your head. Let's continue here. Let's continue. They say, and to have the right to veto if necessary. Ephraim Benita Diop is the African Union Special Envoy for Women, Peace, and Security. Miss Benita Diop. I beg you. There's one why you can't talk here. It not be true to you. There's one why you can't talk. It not go work. It not go work. Say you can't go have how they call it, Security Council seat for the United Nations. Why you come and veto things or not veto things? It not go work, madam. Please. It not go work. Go please rethink. It's not going to work. You have to rethink. It's not going to work. Let's continue here. According to them, for 2 days, participant, okay? For 2 days, participant will attend workshop to highlight how foreign shock from outside of the continent impact the security situation of African countries. Now, like I said, you having all these productive worries, all this solution, all this, I don't know, all these things you put in here. And then you go and invite the enemy into the meeting to listen to what you are discussing. Look what you say here. Those that were in the meeting with, and those participants will attend workshop. Will attend workshop to discuss the solution of foreign interference, of foreign military on the African continent, of how foreign military impact the African continent negatively. You're going to have all these meetings and invite these people. They don't. First of all, you're telling them to leave. They don't want to leave. See what Mali did when Mali told the French military to leave. See what they've been doing to the Malian military. The French military been supporting terrorist group. The moment they said they must leave, all of the French military personnel, they were in Mali. Terrorist activities never attack the French military base. But the moment they said the French should leave and they left, all of a sudden, terrorist activities start going on, attacking the Malian military base. But all along the French people were there, military base were not being attacked. But all of a sudden, the French are out, the terrorists will start attacking bases straight. They're doing that to weaken the military apparatus of Mali. So you see here, you can be discussing things at this, meaningful things at this, and invite the enemies. Let's continue here. The aim, according to them, the aim of the meeting they had in Senegal, Dakar on the 25th of October, the aim of these meetings is to seek solution. You cannot be seeking solution, African solution, and you invite the colonizer, you invite the imperialists, you invite the capitalists. It can't work because the capitalists feed on you. They are leech on the African people. You cannot be finding solution on how you're going to take the leech from on you, and then you're telling the leech, can't be me. That we discuss how we're going to take it from on me. It's not going to work. These people are leech. You don't invite them into your meeting. The aim of this meeting is to seek solution that will enable the continent to no longer rely on external support in terms of armed forces, in terms of armed forces or food aid, for example, and to access its sovereignty. You have all these nice things. And then you invite international, what the thing here say? You invite international organization into all these things you're saying here. Your aim is to not to rely on external support. And this external support, they know that the moment you become self-independent and you no longer rely on them, they can't control you. Because the man who control you is the man that feed you. The man who feed you control you. And that is why when they gave you, aid, they dictate to you. The moment you say no, they sanction your country. They sanction your government official. They cut our supply of how they did to Kanye West. The moment Kanye West spoke the truth, the moment Kanye West turned up to them, they cut his supply. They cut his wire. They cut everything. Now he's in a darkness. And that's how they do to African nation. Such people, you do not invite them into your meeting. You're talking about how you will not be, you to find solution so that you cannot rely on foreign aid. And then you invite him into your meeting. Do you know one of the reasons they killed Gaddafi? Because Gaddafi was self-independent. And Gaddafi was sponsoring the AU. So that means if Gaddafi are going to, there are many reasons they kill him, but that's just one of the reasons. So if AU was not depending on Western aid or Washington DC aid, that means AU will no longer listen to EU or NATO. So you see where the power comes from. You don't have power, you can't be respected. Let's continue here. The reason why this was a wrong move to invite international organization. Let's see the next article here. Let's see the next article here. Let's see the plot against African people, okay? Let's see it. That will be the last reading. Now, this here is from the Congress, okay? The United States Congress. And it's a House resolution, okay? And it came on the floor in February 9, 2022 of this year, February 9, 2022 of this year. Now, they said Ethiopia, right? But this is exactly what they do to the African nations. This is exactly what they do to the African nations, okay? Now, let's say House resolution, right? 6,600. They say Ethiopia stabilization, peace, and democracy. So that's why I said the Western democracy is different from the African form of democracy. Let's see how the Western democracy work and how they want it to work on the African continent. Come with me. Now, I posted a link, by the way. If anybody want it, it's in the link there. Now, according to them here, they said this bill, what this bill was for or is for, okay? So how can irrational people just sit down and write irrational thoughts and think irrationally and put it into writing to go on next man country, in next man country, on next man continent, far away, to tell them what to do? Place that you have no attachment or no connection. Nonsense. What is what they say here? But I don't blame them. I don't blame them. This is what they say here. This bill, the reason why this bill was written, look at here, there's nonsense. This bill imposes sanction. You hear it? This bill was written 2022. Okay? This bill imposes sanction and addresses other issues related to the conflict in Ethiopia. So you see, when Ethiopia support the TPLF, support the rebel group, support the terrorist group, and the terrorist group, they're creating chaos and killing the people. They're not talking about that, but they are saying they will put sanction on Ethiopia because the government, either the prime minister, is not a puppet to them. You see what happened when you receive aid from the people? You see what happened? That's what happened to Kanye. So that's what happened when you receive aid from them. They make it to do what they want you to do. If you say no, then they come with sanction. Is this the kind of democracy the United States want for other nations to practice? Is this the kind of democracy the United States been preaching to nations around the world? Is there not a hypocrisy or double standard? You see why the Western democracy is different from that of the African democracy? African democracy, no interference. It's unity. So let's continue here. The president of that country, not the United States president. So this how they do. They put in government, like they still see African nations as colonies. The president must impose property blocking sanction and visa blocking sanction in the case of an individual against, you see it, against foreign entity. Now, folks, you see why that meeting they had about the solution of Africa, why they shouldn't invite OSA entity. They should not have invited OSA organization or OSA entity or any OSA journalist. You see why it was wrong? So you see what they plan to do or what they are doing. You see why it was wrong. So they said the president must impose property blocking sanction and visa blocking sanction in the case of individual. That is, if there is an individual entity or individual weapon in our country that is blocking, and that individual entity or that individual government official in our country is powerful, but if they found out that that individual is the person blocking the interest, for example, of America, they will sanction that individual. And it just happened recently in Liberia. They will sanction that individual. And the United States just did it recently. They sanctioned 3 government officials in Liberia. And they said they are going to seize all of the 3 individual sanctions in Liberia. They're going to seize their property on any American jurisdiction or border or land. So you see here, the president must impose property blocking sanction. You see it? And visa blocking sanction in the case of an individual against a foreign entity or individual that has taken certain action to expand or extend the civil war of another conflict in Ethiopia. So America, are you going to question yourself? Because it has been proven that you supported the TPLF. So, okay, I understand what you're saying here. You are going to sanction another country who was just going in to go help Ethiopia to fight the TPLF. You're going to sanction that country. Let's continue here. According to them, this bill, the 6,600 bill, resolution bill, this bill prohibit assisting. Listen to this. This bill prohibit assisting with certain, listen to the English, with certain exception. This bill prohibit assisting with certain exception to Ethiopian security forces unless the Department of State certify to Congress. Who is Congress? That the Department of State or the Department or the Ethiopian Parliament or the Ethiopian authority have to come to Congress. Listen to, they have to come to the United States Congress. Look at the nonsense they wrote here, right? The bill prohibits assistance with certain exception to Ethiopian security forces unless the Department of State certify to Congress that Ethiopian government has ceased all military operation associated with the civil war and met other specified conditions. What are those specified conditions? You know, look, they know how to play with words. Those specified conditions are conditions that to say that the prime minister or the Ethiopian authority will say, okay, America will surrender. Specified condition. All right, America, come in, do what you want to do. Specified condition. All right, America, we're going to allow your interest to be forced over the Ethiopian people. Specified condition. All right, America, we're going to sign an agreement. What you want in this country to be done, that's it, take it, so that you can start supporting the TPLF. Specified condition. All right, America, we're going to allow you come in to control our government. Specified condition. All right, America, your interest is going to be first in this country. Specified condition. We're going to be a colony to you. Specified condition. We're going to allow decision to come from Washington, D.C. Specified condition. All right, before anybody come into Ethiopia to make business, we have to seek permission from the United States Congress. Specified condition. Let's continue here. According to them, the Department of Treasury must entrust U.S. representative to international financial institutions to oppose, with some exception. Again, such institutions providing loans or assistance to the government of Ethiopia or Eritrea. Furthermore, the U.S. International Department Finance Corporation may not provide certain support for project in Ethiopia. Will not provide certain support for project in Ethiopia. If the Ethiopian government does not do what the United States wants, let's just put it plain and simple and done. If the Ethiopian government or the Ethiopian people does not allow the United States to interfere or to infiltrate into the affair of the Ethiopian people or the Ethiopian authority, we will cut out support. And that's what happened to Kanye West. Just for clarity to understand what these things means. That means do not speak against the United States. You can speak against other nations, but when it comes to the U.S., even if the U.S. is doing something illegal in your country or bad, do not speak. And that's what happened to Kanye West. Isn't this what happened to Kanye West? You cannot speak against your colonial master. You cannot speak against your enslaver. You cannot speak against your oppressor. You cannot speak against your suppressor. Because at the end of the day, your suppressor gave you money, gave you aid. You depend on them. Isn't this what happened? So that is what African situation, whether it's individual, whether it's nation, it is the same, because it is the same corporation, the same beast that control it, that suppress and oppress us. And that is why we need to work in unity. Let's continue what it said here. This restriction, the restriction they have now, this restriction must terminate after the State Department satisfy that certain conditions, such as a cessation of military operation associated with the civil war in Ethiopia, have been met. All these sections, all the ill policies they have against Ethiopia or against any African nation, it will only be removed. The restriction will be removed, will be stopped if you surrender to the United States. That's what they're trying to say here exactly. Let's continue here. The president may provide support for activities necessary to preserve evidence of atrocity in Ethiopia and to pressure accountability of such atrocity. What they're trying to say here is, you remember a time they said the Ethiopian government was killing how they call it, people in Ethiopia. The Ethiopian government was doing this, was doing that. Those were the Western narrative. Those were the Western evidence that it was gathering. That's what they do. And they do that, and then they take it against your government. And any government that is for the people, America does not want you. Facts. And that is why they kill African leaders. That who they saw were for the people. So this is what they do here. And that's what Obama said Democracy is failing because people have lost respect in the media, because African people have lost respect for white narrative, for white Western narrative, and that is why they are failing, and that is why people do not believe in Western media. That is why African people do not believe in Western reporters. Let's continue here. Within 90 days of this bill enactment, the State Department must report to Congress a determination of whether actions in Ethiopia by the armed forces of Ethiopia and Eritrea, the Tigrayan People Liberation Front, and other armed actors constitute genocide, war crime, or crime against humanity. So you see here, they are the judge. They support chaos, bring ammunition, support one group, and then after that, they put a blame on the other group that does not support them or that does not have their interests. And then they take it to the so-called ICC or International Criminal Court. But they can never be criminal. Only African people can be criminal. Only black people can be criminal. Going to that so-called International Criminal Court or International Justice Court. But they never go there. Nobody carry them there for the crime committed against humanity, for justice. No, they are not crime. They never commit crime. So you see the kind of bill. So this is why you African leaders, when you people have a meeting, do not invite these people there, because they always have hidden agenda. You see what it wrote here, what they do. And you always invite them into your meeting, into your agenda, into what you discuss, into your solution. It's wrong. So the meeting you have by inviting international organization was wrong. Because when they wrote this thing, you were not there. And they will bring this thing and act against you. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we've been here for so long. Thank you. I hold you all. You know, some of you have gone. I can't hold you responsible because some of you got to go to work. You got to go do what you got to do. But this is today's presentation. The solution here is, in fact, we gave many solutions, but just to close, African. Like Nkrumah said, whether you are from the north, whether you are from the east, south, west, we are all African. Period. We are all African. Period. That means we should support one another. Do not bring down another African. And do not go against another African. Do not go against African agenda. Always support African agenda. Do not go against African struggle. Because there is no struggle you will fit in other than African as an African person. There is no struggle you will fit in as a black person other than black struggle. You can identify yourself with other, but at the end of the day, you will not be accepted. You got to go by the agenda. They're not looking at your agenda or what you carry to them. Anything you carry to them, it have to fit to that narrative. It's not about you. And the day you disengage or disagree with what they say, that day you are no longer part of that entity. I end with this. What is understood cannot be further explained. On this note, I see you all tomorrow, Saturday, on the Saturday show. And also, I see you all Friday. And thank you for being on here. Thank you for holding it down as we continue the movement worldwide. This is the time. If African people want to take their place in the world, African people worldwide need to unite. This is not about I live in South America. This is not about I live in Africa. I don't have time for the people in South America. And those things have been playing on us before, which of course it have did. It went on for so long because divide and conquer. That's what they've been doing to us. But we have come to realize it's not about I'm not American. It's not about I'm not African. It's not about I wasn't born in Africa. It's not about I wasn't born in America. It's not about that. It's deeper than that. Okay? So we need to come together and fight. It's a collective fight, okay? It's a collective fight that we need to do. So thank you for being on here. I will see you all tomorrow, and I will see you all Friday. Peace.